萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。
弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，大家吉祥。今天又
Auspicious
是
greetings
来
to
上信，我
everyone.
们来上一堂
Today is
中文
Friday
立
and we
法的
are
课了。
having
我是
a
丽妍主
Jupiter
教，
Tantra
我来
class.
自
I'm
马
dear
来西
Lian.
亚
I'm
新
from
登，
Malaysia.
也是今天的主
Xing
持
Deng
人。
Chapter.
欢迎来
I'm
自
also the
中
Master
国
of
和非洲
Ceremony
的上
today and
师、教授师、法师、讲师、助教以及世界
welcome all who
的
join
朋友
via
们，
Zoom,
大家
YouTube,
早安、午
FaceTube.
安、晚安。今天
Good
大
morning,
家
good
有好
afternoon,
的
good
吗？
evening, everyone.
这是
Have
今年
you
2023年
reported
新
your
的一个
advancement
开始
homework
后，
today? Have you
现
checked
在已
it?
经是亚洲晚上了，相信大家
So
都陆续
it's
在
already
群组打
night
卡了。现
for
在要
Asia.
请把
So
各位
I'm
手
sure
机
most of you have already
把电
checked
脑
in.
打开，这样我们可以更好
Do
的
also
认
turn
识
on your
大家的名
videos
字
so
以
that
及
we
您的
could
样子。 那先
see
给
your
大家
faces and know you
打个
better.
招呼好吗？
Please
好，
turn on
现
the
在
video and say
让我
hi
们
to
看看一
everyone.
下。好，现在看到有我们的翻译员一家助教，您好。我们有
We have our
我们
translators on the
的一台
line.
讲师
We
阿弥
also
陀
have
佛，
our
您好。
counselors from the Jupiters
我们有看到
Online
老钟
University.
师兄，
There's also Dharma
老
brother
钟
Lao
师兄
Zhong.
非常亲近，天天都看到师兄都打卡哦。
Oh,
还有
Lao Zhong
莲花
师
坚
兄,
信
Lao,
师
Dharma brother
兄，
Lao Zhong is
阿弥
very
陀佛，您
hardworking. He
好。
checks in every day.
莲花小香助教，阿弥陀佛，您好。
Amitabha for
我们有智
Dear
莲
Xiao
如
Xiang,
教授师，阿弥陀佛。
Senior Reverend Lin Ru is
有
also online.
是莲一上师，我们的授课导师，阿弥陀佛。
Master Lianyi is already
还有看到
online.
了我们的
Amitabha
教育处处长联合上师，阿弥
and
陀
Master
佛。
Lianhe, the Director of Education
我
Director,
们
is also
有
online now.
莲花伟盛师兄，
So Dharma brother Wei Shen
还有我们的辅导员
and also our counselor
彩虹助教，阿弥陀佛。
D.A. Cai Hong.
莲花莲霞助教，阿弥陀佛。
I will see D.A.
还
Lin
有
Xia
我们的辅导员莲花伟
and
老
also
师，阿弥陀
another
佛。 连接教授师，
counselor
阿弥陀佛。
D.I.
连接教授师也是天天都在打卡。
Senior Reverend Lin Zhu is also
好，
very
各
hardworking.
位
He
大
checks
师
in
师兄阿弥
every
陀
day.
佛，师姐阿弥陀佛。还有莲花照敏师姐阿弥陀
So
佛。
all Dharma brothers and
是
sisters,
莲庆
masters, Dharma
法师吗？
instructors, um,
阿弥陀佛。
all masters,
莲
all senior
花
reverends,
敏庆师姐
reverends,
阿弥
Dharma
陀
instructors,
佛。
Dharma assistant, and all Dharma
还有
brothers
慧
and
体师姐阿弥陀
sister are
佛。
slowly
我
starting
们
to
师
check
姐
in.
阿弥陀佛，您好。
Amitabha, everyone.
还有我们的印尼翻译员佩芬助教，阿弥陀佛。还有我们的中委会会长莲花城主上师，阿弥陀佛。
So TBF
我们的
chairman has
辅
also
导员
come
美华助
online.
教，阿弥陀佛。还有看到玉
Amitabha to
祥
everyone
助教，阿弥
is
陀
who's
佛。
coming online.
还有莲花德好助教，阿弥陀佛。还有莲花光福助教，阿弥陀佛。还有这一位莲良法师，阿弥陀佛。来自马来西亚的爱妮师姐，阿弥陀佛。布迪哈yan朵师兄，阿弥陀佛。我们辅导员显夫助教，阿弥陀佛。还有我们这个思文助教，阿弥陀佛。好，都有打开摄像头的，都看来已经，希望没有遗漏。
I've
莲花人
greeted
间
everyone who
阿弥
is
陀
on
佛。
video, and I hope I didn't miss out
迷妹讲
anyone.
师，阿弥陀佛。秀清师姐，阿弥陀佛。细妹讲师，阿弥陀佛。非常年轻的艺宁师兄，阿弥陀佛。万亮师兄，阿弥陀佛。莲花金兰师姐，阿弥陀佛。一名讲师，阿弥陀佛。好，大家都已经一一的都打招呼了。 那今天呢，我们将会上什么课呢？
So today, what lesson are we attending?
今天一样的，我们今天将会学习招请佛菩萨这个部分。
Today we will be learning how to invoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So how do we do it? So this is the topic for the day. Please prepare your paper and pen.
联一上师会为大家讲解。
Our lecture for today, Master Lianyi will explain in detail. So as usual, we will have a sharing session after our lesson. This sharing session will help us in our learning. So take the opportunity. So take down all the important points that you're going to learn during class today so that you can also share after class. I will be volunteering someone for the sharing this time. So it's 8 p.m. First, let's pay homage to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lianshen, past lineage gurus of the true Buddha school, triple gem of the shrine, and we pray for our root lineage guru to bless the class today. May the class be auspicious and may everyone have a fulfilling class. Please form the Padmakumara mudra and recite the Padmakumara mantra, short mantra, Simitam Siddhihum. Om Guru Lianshen 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 Siddhihum. Welcome our lecturer, Master Lianyi, Honorable Chairman, Master Chen Zhu, Education Director, Master Lian He, PR Director, Master Lian Jia, Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and fellow disciples on YouTube, Zoom, and Facebook, all Padmakumaras. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So I have two good news to share with everyone. The first one is your advancement, the list for the advancement homework for February have been sent to Grandmaster for his blessing. Let me show you the list which Grandmaster has blessed. Can you see it on the screen? This is the list that we've submitted to Grandmaster. This is for homework done in February for Grandmaster to bless. So we have 515 disciples who have participated in this advancement homework activity. So from Weixin, from WhatsApp, from the various messaging groups, and also Line and Telegram. So I just want to let you know for this coming Sunday, Rainbow Temple, Grandmaster will be presiding over the Rich Jambala Dharma ceremony. So this list will be put together with the supplicant list for blessing by Grandmaster. So for the list for March, we will continue to collect the name list and forward to Grandmaster. So you shouldn't miss this good opportunity for blessings by Grandmaster. So I wish you diligence in your practice and attainment in your practice. So the second good news that I'm going to share is Indonesian fellow disciples. They have good luck now. Good luck now. So Master Lian Fei has contingent who will be translating some of the true Buddha lectures to Indonesia. So you will help. So thank you to Master Lian for this arrangement. Thank you to Master Lian Fei and his team to to translate the teaching, the text, the teaching text to Indonesian. So today is the lesson 2, how to invoke Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We'll start soon. So why we have this detailed exposition is the hope that every disciple will benefit from these learnings. So the first lesson was the preparation before cultivation. Let's invite our lecturer, Master Lianyi, to deliver the class today, how to evoke Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Welcome, Master Lianyi. First, let's put our palms together and homage to our root lineage guru, living Buddha Lianshan. Past lineage gurus of the true Buddha schools, and all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. The Honorable Chairman, Master Chen Zhu, Honorable Education Director, Master Lian He, Honorable PR Director, Master Lian Jia, Honorable Master Lian Fei, Honorable Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructor, Dharma Assistants, and fellow disciples. Greetings to everyone, Amitabha. So every time after class, I will see that Master Lian He will always leave a message on our messaging group. So Tang and the education team, those working behind the scenes, and the counselors, to thank them. Especially today, Master Lian He left a message on the messaging group on the list of people who participated in the advancement homework activity, which was being sent to Grandmaster for his blessing. So when I see this kind of care and compassion the Master has towards fellow disciples, I feel that he's really done a really good job. So to every fellow disciples, we should care for them. So whatever we said might affect how people feel. So I remember at the temple, whenever he comes for his group cultivation, she was always late. One day after our practice, I said to her, "You have very good affinity with Avalokiteshvara." She was very happy to hear this. And after she left, a committee member said, "Do you notice that she's always late for practice? And yet you say she's affinity with Avalokiteshvara." And I said to him, "Did you realize that every time she will arrive, just when we are reciting the Hiking Sutra, so don't you think she has that affinity? And now slowly she's improved and has affinity with the Buddha. And every time when we chant, sing the pure Dhammakaya body, 清净法身佛, she would have arrived." Sometimes I believe when we speak, we shouldn't be too straightforward. And there's a saying that says that seeing the fact and knowing the truth, but not saying it out, is wisdom, but not saying it out directly is compassion and loving kindness. So maybe someone is wrong. Could you talk to him in another way, in another manner? So, but if you ask him why you always late when you come for a group cultivation, if you tell this person this way, the person will not come again next time. Especially for cultivators, what we speak is important. It must be what we speak must be able to increase someone's wisdom, increase their affinity with the Buddha, or at least make people feel happy after hearing it. So if it's none of the above, please keep silent. So before we go into lesson 2, how to evoke Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, let's do a recap again. So between 24th to 30th November 1992, where the living Buddha Lianyi first elaborate on the true Buddha Tantra sadhanas officially. Please put your answers in the chat. Lao Zhong said it's at Rainbow Villa. That's right. Which is the Rainbow Temple now. Question 2. So what mudra do you form before and after cultivation practice? So the answer is right. So there's the wake up and this Mr. Call mudra, which is clap twice, cross hands, and snap your thumbs and middle fingers. What is the real purpose of the purification mantra? That's right. It's to purify your body, mind, and speech. So we just did a recap. So let's enter into the lesson proper. The importance of invocation. So invocation is extremely important, and living Buddha's Lianyi speed instructions and experience for cultivation lies within it. And generally, when we recite the invocation mantra 3 times, Om Ahom Soha. This is to invoke the main deity in the shrine of the Tantric practitioner, as well as other deities and their relatives. Or it can be a collective invocation of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 existence. So the practitioner will invoke whichever deity that's enshrined in their shrine. So here, there's already mention of the experience and bit of cultivation. I remember the last time I mentioned about the teachings of Atisa, who is from the Kadampa. This is very important. He said for a cultivator, there is no need to practice and subjugate a sadhana alone. And as long as you pray to your root guru and remain firm in your faith, the 84,000 maras will be helpless. So one who has firm faith in their root guru will not be harmed by the maras. And that is the secret. If you don't know the secret, it's very difficult to cultivate. So there's another story on the last teachings of Milarepa. So what is the last teachings of Milarepa? You must think it's really his last teaching must be something really shocking. So Gampopa was Milarepa's most delighted disciple and he was his heart son. And when he's completed his Dharma training from Milarepa, he left the mountains. Milarepa accompanied him till a bridge. He knew he would never see this hot sun again this lifetime. So he told Gampopa, I have a very extraordinary piece that I want to transmit to you. And this will also be my last teaching to you. And what he did was Milarepa removed his clothes and show the calluses and scars on his body. So Gampopa was very touched. And he understand immediately what is this last teaching. It means to train diligently and be able to endure and overcome all hardships in order to hone his cultivation. So when you hear about that, diligent cultivation is something very sounds simple enough. But if you think about what Grandmaster teachings is about, I personally feel that the behavior and action, the words, the speech, what Grandmaster, his words and his actions are all his teachings. So he took a stack of notes during one time. He took a stack of notes and showed to everyone and asked the disciples, "What is this?" The disciples, of course, responded, "These are notes." And Grandmaster said, "No, they are just paper." And and Grandmaster said, everyone can be taught. So every action, every word spoken by Grandmaster is propagating the Dharma. So when fellow disciples saw this, do you have a kind of realization? So Grandmaster is actually teaching us this is one refuge. So Tantric always talk about one refuge. That means totally reliant on your root guru. So Grandmaster words and action is a Dharma teaching. And I've spoken before the last time. What leaves me a very deep impression about Grandmaster is twists and turns. And in our life, when we talk about and in life, nothing is more important that sorry, he means removing your attachments. 去执 how your life will be, it depends how much you can see through, how much truth you can see and understand. So in the process, you are faced with a lot of problems, troubles. And why do you have troubles? Because you have attachments. In terms of relationship, what is most difficult to let go are actually relationships. So I've read a report that there was some there was a guy who's only 22 years old who parted with his girlfriends, who broke up with the girlfriends, and he couldn't let go of this breaking up. So he actually wrote on the internet about how unhappy he was and wanting to kill himself. And when his friends saw this on media, social media, they thought he was just a joke. So they ignore him. Especially the girlfriend can't be bothered to didn't bother to reply his message, and he really committed suicide from jumping down from the building he stayed, and he died. So he left a note to tell, and hoping that his mother will uh, stay strong. So his choice of to leave the world is his choice. But I think the most important point is we have to sit down and ponder. Apart from ourselves, who are the closest to us? You know, after you left, you would actually be harming and hurting your family long term, even after you left. So this is something to ponder about. So if you learn the Buddha Dharma, it may be easier for you to um, detach from such attachments. You will not be stubborn. So the more stubborn you are, your problems will become more deep-rooted. So before we do something, we have to think about how people will feel. Think from other people's perspective, especially your family. So one's attachment really causes one to do something that they shouldn't at all. Next, we will talk about using my invocation. So invocation is now we are talking about using my invocation. So now let's talk about using my invocation. So here the practitioner will put their palms together and recites the invocation mantra. This invocation method is known as my invocation. And first, with the joint palms, the practitioner will visualize their heart chakra opening into a lotus with a moon disk on top of the lotus. Next, a sixth syllable of the practitioner personal deity appear on the moon disk. For example, if the personal deity is Amitabha, the sixth syllable would be Xie, imprinted on the moon disk of the practitioner. Let's talk about what it means when you're putting your palms together. When you do that, it represents the unity of the 10 Dharma realm. So at the highest with the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and it goes down all the way to the animal realm. So the 10 Dharmas was Master Kong Hai ever said something, how our heart will be. So it's also linked to the 10 Dharma realms. We should be moving, upgrading ourselves. We should move up the realms. Putting your palms together is also an article practice in ancient India, expressing respect. It also represents peace, friendship, unity, and cooperation. So that's also another meaning to putting your palms together. If your back of your palms are facing each other, this will represent the six das, which is the sense of sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and phenomena. If your palms face towards each other, this represents realization of the truth. Most people will be attached to the six das. So they will remain in samsara. And cultivation is to detach from the six das and liberated from samsara. In Hong Kong, there's a very well-known artist who everyone knows. When he was young, he was very poor. His name is Chow Yun Fat. he set up a charity foundation with his entire fortune of $56 million. He has taken up many jobs in his youth. He has been a car washer. And he recalled this incident that one day he was washing the car. There was a Rolls Royce, and he liked this car very much. And he touched the Rolls Royce, the steering wheel. The driver gave him a slap just for touching the steering wheel. And he thought, when he has the opportunity, the first car he will buy is a Rolls Royce. So for Zhou Fa to donate out his entire fortune is not easy. From being very poor to very rich and then donating out his fortune. And he said, my life is actually very simple. I just want to be a happy, normal person. He said earning money is not difficult. The more difficult part is about how to maintain a calm and peaceful mindset, have a simple life without worries. So once a reporter interviewed Chow, what words would you use to represent your life? He said, the first word is up. Because in his youth, he has been very poor. He has been a driver. He has been also a taxi driver, a salesman. He has been through many jobs. And in the end, he went into the entertainment industry and became famous from starring in the movie The Bang. And when he became rich, he has this realization, in life, there's just one word, work out. Even if you're at a low point, don't ever doubt the significance of hard work. So his second word is stop. He said, once you reach a certain level, you must know when to stop. If you're forever running after external material wants, you will lose your way. So one reach a certain point in your life, you should stop. And his third word is righteous. Why did he choose this word? He said, when you're old, you must have a righteous life. Then people will respect you if you're righteous. He's very easygoing. He's very low profile. He gets along with everyone. He likes to visit the local market. He does not drive an expensive car. He likes to take public transport and he likes to drink tea at a local cafe. He has a very simple life. This is his life stages. First word is up. When you're young, you should work hard. And when you're middle age, you must learn when to stop. And last and not least, you should be a righteous person. Then you will gain respect from people. Let's talk about a lotus. So is the lotus in the moon disk upright or flat? So in Q&A, Grandmaster has answered. He has taught, in your heart, the lotus on the moon disk is flat and rotate clockwise. However, in the void, the lotus on the moon disk is upright and rotate rotate clockwise. So I just want to share this with you. You know, the intention of the mind is very important. So what your mind think will attract. There's a Japanese scientist, Professor Masaru. He wrote a book, The Water Knows the Answer. Professor Masaru had done tens of thousands within 10 years, done tens of thousands of water experiments. And he taught us one logic. What the experiments showed that the thoughts of human beings will decide our surrounding. But if your intention is kind, is caring, the water will crystallize beautifully. On the contrary, if you write negative words like hate, the water having received negative messages will have broken and ugly shapes. So the intentions in your mind are very, very important. It's the same for plants. A person's intention is very important. We should try to think positive. Don't have non-virtuous thought or bad thoughts. But if you come across a bad situation, try to transform this into something better. There's another story about the 32nd US President Roosevelt before he became president. So one day there was a burglar in his house. When his friend knew this, he wrote him a letter to console him. After reading the letter, Roosevelt replied to his friend, "Thank you for your concern. There are several things for which I'm thankful. First, the burglar stole my possession but did not harm me. Second, the burglar only stole some of my possessions and not all. And third, the most fortunate thing is it is him who is the burglar and not me." So Roosevelt's perspective towards life is very different. He's very optimistic and very positive towards bad situations. If you have a good mindset, the life will be beautiful. If you have light in your heart, the world will radiate. So you always must have righteous thinking. Next, we are going to talk about how to use the invocation mantra. When one recites the invocation mantra, Om Ahom Soha 3 times, during recitation, one's mind intention has already opened the lotus in one's heart with a mundis atop the lotus, and the sixth syllable of the mundis emits red light 3 times. This is invocation using the mind, and we can also invoke using the mudra and mantra. Like, for example, the practitioner is reciting using their mouth. For example, we respectfully invoke Namo Amitabha, Buddha of the Western Pure Land, or we respectfully invoke Golden Mother of the West. So this is also one of the methods of invocation. Before every meal, Living Buddha Lianshen would do a simple invocation without reciting Om Ahom Soha. He said, he felt that this is rather cumbersome. Because Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are all around us, you can simply say, I'm inviting everyone for a meal. They would be able to hear us. Just a simple clap, just a simple clap of the hands while saying, wake up everyone, it's time to eat. As long as a practitioner has an intention, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will easily be able to sense the practitioner invocation. So, Grandmaster, my intention is strong. There was once when Grandmaster had a thought in his mind that the dragon ropes are almost sold out at a charity event. And in the next Dharma ceremony, disciples offered 100 dragon ropes to Grandmaster. So, Grandmaster intention, my intention is like a magnet. It attracts. That's the reason why it's very important to have positive and righteous thoughts, because that's the power of the mind. Let's talk about the most magnificent three syllables mantra, Om Ahom. The three syllables Om Ahom represents the universe. Om signifies the universe, Ah signifies Buddhas, while Hom signifies attainment. So the Buddhas in the universe achieve attainments. Soha is equivalent to like Amen. What does it mean? Which is to fulfill one's wishes in one's heart. Recitation of the invocation mantra indicates one's wish to evoke Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Using this mantra for invocation is the greatest, as this mantra was originally meant for invocation of the five Buddhas. Deities below the five Buddhas would of course have to follow suit. And if the five Buddhas are evoked, hence choosing Om Ahom Sokha as an invocation mantra is equivalent to invoking all deities within the universe and is hence the greatest mantra. Your visualization has to be very clear when you're invoking using your mind. The Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas would definitely come. So you must have clear visualization of the lotus, mundi, sixth syllable, and emitting of light. So using mudra for invocation, what is this? Putting your palms together is that a mudra. So mudra is a symbolic gesture formed with the hands. Joy palms symbolize the fulfilling of one's wish in one's heart. Now, as we change our palms into claps hands, which is the outer claps mudra, then hooking the index finger, this is the Vajrahut mudra. There are actually two types of Vajrahut mudra, as you can see from the PowerPoint. So there are two types of Vajrahut mudra that can be used. So when you're forming the mudra with the hands, you recite Namo Vajrahut Bodhisattva Mahasattva 3 times. So this hook will rise very high up into the void, where your personal deity is at, on top of a cloud in the void. And the hook continue to rise outwards into the void and hook onto the cloud and then pull the cloud downwards. And the personal deity would descend from the cloud. So remember to recite the mantra when using the Vajrahut mudra. So remember, when you use the hook is to hook onto the clouds and not the color of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It should be hooked onto the cloud or the Dharma throne that the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are sitting on. We will pause here for a while and do a Q&A. Q&A.
是的，上师，先知想评。好，谢谢。
So let me share my screen.
好，阿弥陀佛，大家好，我又来了。那同样的指示，请大家这一个指示输入
Look at instructions on
的这个指
the
示，加入代码，或者是您可以在这个留言区打
Or you
上
can
这
look at the link given in the chat box.
您想要的这个
If you are
语言
joining
来
the game through Menti,
问答的部分。
www.menti.com, please remember to key in the
问题
relevant code.
用意念招
So
请
this is the question one. What is the key to using my invocation?
内
Visualize the sixth syllable of the personal deity in the sun disk, or visualize the sixth syllable of the personal deity in the moon
哪
disk,
一个是正确
or
答案？
visualize the sixth syllable of the personal deity in the star disk. What is the right answer? I see a lot of bees.
啊，答案是 B 啊。
So it's B.
啊，问题二，
Question 2.
用结音招请腰子。A. 勾住本尊的手和
What is the key to using
勾住本尊的天衣。C. 勾住本尊的云
invocation
法座。
mudra to hook the personal deity's hand or foot, to hook the personal deity's celestial clothing, or to hook the personal deity cloud or Dharma throne? A, to hook the personal deity's hand or foot, B, to hook the personal deity's celestial clothing, or C, to hook the personal deity's cloud or Dharma throne. So the answer is C. So who are the winners?
.好，这个问答的部分已经第一的环节已经完成了，那我就交给
To set one of this Q&A.
那我们待会还有
So I hand
第二
it
部
back
分。
to Master Lianyi to continue his class.
接下来。佛菩萨没有降
What is
临
the reason for not being able to evoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? In one's daily cultivation, you do not know whether the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas have arrived. This is equivalent to not knowing where you have directed your intentions. If one evoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they definitely will arrive. If they do not arrive, this means you are not sincere enough. Invocation with mantra "my" as well as mudra is extremely profound. So how do you evoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas so that you achieve union with them? In one's cultivation of the root guru yoga and personal deity, root guru yoga, not only does the practitioner have to hook the respective deity for the deity's descent, the practitioner also has to invite the deity to come in front of themselves. The practitioner has to invite the deity to enter in their hearts and ultimately become the deity. And the practitioner and deity should not be separate entities. So there is a P to invocation, the movement of the chi energy. For example, if Avalokiteshvara is a personal deity and Avalokiteshvara is on a cloud of void, one uses the Vajra hook to hook the deity and uses one mind to think of the deity. You have to first visualize the deity's heavenly robes moving. 2, visualize the water in the pure vase giving empowerment to the practitioner. 3rd, visualize Avalokiteshvara eyes looking and watching the practitioner. four visualize the eyes looking, Avalokiteshvara, eyes looking or watching the practitioner, and 5 to visualize the Avalokiteshvara's heavenly crown and Dharma ropes shifting in the wind. So this is movement of the Bodhisattvas. Where there is movement, Avalokiteshvara will arrive. I remember the story about a fellow disciple. Her spouse lost a bunch of keys. She couldn't find the keys after searching for an hour. In the end, she stopped searching and stopped by the roadside. She put her palms together and prayed to the void for Avalokiteshvara's help. She hoped that the keys will be found. This is a very simple prayer. And after her prayers were done, she looked down. The keys were right in front of her on the road. And he said, wow, I feel that if you are sincere, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can feel that. What I'm sharing with you, they are real stories. There's another story that I would like to share. There was a Vietnamese disciple who lives in Montreal, Canada. When he was escaping Vietnam by sea on a fishing boat, when the boat went into public seas, they met pirates. The pirates stopped them and tied their boat and tucked their boat to a spot so that the pirates can rob them. They were very frightened and kneeled down and kept praying to Avalokiteshvara. So most Vietnamese will pray to Avalokiteshvara, and something unbelievable happened. In the end, because the pirates tugged the boat too hard, the boat started to sink. And when the pirates saw the situation, they cut the ropes and left them to die. Not too long after, a cargo ship was nearby and rescued every one of them. So this group of people went to different places, and for him, he ended up in Montreal, and later on he took refuge in Grandmaster. So he's very revert towards Avalokiteshvara. So we should always have a sincere heart towards the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So this is the P2 invocation. So when you are doing an invocation, whether The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas bestow upon you empowerments and blessing. A real practitioner will know that. This kind of sensation, extremely strong, steadfast, and crystal clear, is not one that is seemingly one here, one moment, and not there the next. Hence, invocation extremely important. The peak lies in visualizing the movements of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like a slight movement of the arm, a toe, the eyes, a flutter of the heavenly robes. This is the important part. Let's talk about the peak for emergencies. In real emergencies, Tantric prescribes to tap the left and right thighs once each, but use this only during emergencies. Why do we tap the thighs? Because the thighs represent motion, and by tapping one's thighs, one will feel a spiritual response as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas spur into action. This is a secret. There is a saying in Tantric that in the left and right thighs of a practitioner, hidden within are 500 dakas and 500 dakinis that have spiritual union with the practitioner's thighs. Tapping them signifies action, and once a practitioner tells the daka and dakinis of their predicament, the dakas and dakinis will spur into action. So remember that this speed can only be used during emergencies. So what do you do? There's another method. So when you have an emergency, you can light both ends of the incense and report to Grandmaster or Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and ask for Grandmaster's blessing. So that's another incredible story that I would like to share with you, something I've seen with my own eyes. This happened in Montreal as well. A fellow disciple has a good friend who operates a travel agency. One day, she had to return to Taiwan to attend to some matters. While waiting to cross the road with a large luggage on her way to the airport, she wanted to take the train. She wanted to go to the train station. However, a car suddenly drove into her and knocked her down. Her luggage were all scattered. She became unconscious and was sent to ER. So her family was informed to come to Taiwan. As the condition was not optimistic, so there are a total of 5 doctors who gave the same diagnosis that her condition is very serious and she's not likely to survive this accident. And even if she does wake up, she will be in a vegetative state. So the hospital advised the family to remove life support so that she will pass on 3 hours later naturally.
过后呢，他的家人就同意了。
Finally, the family agreed. They agreed to removing life support because they don't want her to endure the suffering. When a good friend and fellow disciples in Montreal heard about this, the first thing they did was to send a fax to true Buddhas to send a fax to Grandmaster for his blessing. So she also sent messages to masters she knows, hoping that they will do a cultivation practice with merit dedications to her friend. She also vowed to recite hiking sutra 1,000 times with Merit's dedication to her, and something miraculous happened. 3 hours after removing life support, she was still breathing. So the hospital started treatment again. And in the end, she survived this ordeal. And Montreal arranged a special flight to transport her home from Taiwan. For further medical treatment. Once I was in Montreal for Dharma propagation, I went to visit her specialist. She was still in hospital doing physiotherapy. It was hard to believe that she was injured so badly. And after physiotherapy, she was able to sit on a wheelchair and able to eat. And she was able to go to the washroom. But she still has injuries and she's still healing. So she was still on a wheelchair. Do you think this is pretty amazing? Something that a doctor may not be able to cure, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas could. So this is a real miracle. So I always said, if encounter an emergency, ask GM for blessings at the very first moment. So now we are at a Q&A to back to DA Lian.
上司准备好了吗？
问题3。
Are you ready? Question 3. What is the P to a movement invocation? A. Qi energy moving. B. Spiritual body moving. C. Physical body moving. I see a lot of A. Everyone has voted.
对啊，是 A。
The correct answer is A.
问题是，请选出紧急口诀，正确
Select
步
the
骤。
right steps of the P used in
左
emergencies.
各一下
Tap both the left and
B.
right cheek once.
拍左右手
Tap
各一
both
下。
the left and right hand once. Or C. Tap both the left and right thighs once. Let's look at the answers. The answer is
对呀，
C.
但是 C， 拍左右腿各一下。
So tap the left and the right thigh once.
结束了。
Yeah, completed our Q&A. Who's the winner? So in the Chinese channel, we have Lotus Guan Yin.
连续冠军恭喜你。
Congratulations.
英文的是
And for the English channel, Ling is the winner.
印尼版的是
And from the Indonesian channel, Hatim. Hatini is the winner.
好，弟你。
Congratulations, everyone.
好。 我们就接下去。
So let's continue.
还有一点而已。金刚萨埵的
Invocation using Bodhisattva mantra.
金刚种子
In addition, there's another invocation mantra, the mantra of Bodhisattva. The pre-model Buddha, also known as Adama Buddha, is also known as the principal Vajradhara. Adama Buddha is at the 16th Bhumi, which is the 16th stage of a Bodhisattva. In general, the Sutrayana tradition will only discuss the 10 Bhumis. The Buddhas of the 5 directions are also known as the 5 main Vajradharas, and Vajrasattva is known as the 6th Vajradhara, an incarnation of the 5 Vajradharas coming together. To evoke with the mantras of the 5 Vajradharas, and the Vajra mantra of Vajrasattva is very remarkable. So we can invoke by using just the Vajrasattva mantra. So this is the source of this invocation. Adama Buddha is known as the pre-model Buddha in Chinese. Adama Buddha is known as Samatambhadra Tathagata. In Vajrayana, he's known as the principal Vajradhara. The Buddhas of the 5 directions are the 5 main Vajradharas. They are all known as Vajradharas. The sixth Vajradhara is Vajrasattva, and in Chinese, he's known as Jinggang Sato. The word Sato means Bodhisattva, hence Avalokiteshvara, which is Guan Shi Yin Pusa, can be addressed as Guan Yin Sato, Chundi Bodhisattva as Chundi Sato, and Pamasambhava Lian Hua Shen Da Shi as Lian Hua Shen Sato. So Vajrasattva is a patriarch of the Vajrayana tradition because Nagarjuna opened the iron pagoda and came face to face with Vajrasattva. The lineage begins with Vajrasattva and was passed down to Nagarjuna as a patriarch in the human realm. Hence, we use Vajrasattva mantra for invocation. So in summary, reproducing from Living Buddha's Liansheng's book 277, Peace to the Path of Liberation. The peaceful invocation as follow. Question: how do we evoke a personal deity? Answer: form the invocation mudra and recite the invocation mantra. Question: what is the invocation mudra? The Vajrahut mudra. So there are 2 types of mudra as we've learned just now. One of them would be clasp both hands together and extend the right index finger into a hook, and with the left hand below also extend the left index fingers and clasp it with the right hand. So what is the question? What is the invocation mantra? There are 2 mantras. One is Om Pansa Samaya Za. Another one is Om Ahom Soha. And more commonly used is Om Ahom Soha. Question: what if the invocation does not work? Answer: evoke with the power of one's mind. 2, evoke with the power of mudra. 3, evoke with the power of mantra. So if the invocation does not work, rotate the Vajra hook 3 times, strengthen the power of the mantra, be concise and powerful. Then with the power of one's mind, think of one's personal deity. For example, visualizing white light emitting from between Amitabha's brow, rotating from right to left. So the pit is rotating the Vajra hook 3 times. This will strengthen the power of the mantra. Then use your power of the mind and think of one's personal deity. That's the pit. That's all for today. we will enter these sessions when where everyone can share their takeaways. That's all for today. Thank you, everyone. Amitabha.
演绎上师精彩的授课，以及说了这么多生动的
Thank
故
you,
事，
Master
大家有没
Lianyi,
有
and
发
thank you
觉
for
到
all
每一个故
interesting
事都与
stories.
我
Did you
们
realize that
生活
all
都有点相
stories
关，这样
is
我
all
们就
related
可
to
以
what
一
is being
起
taught?
记在脑
This
海
will allow
里，
us
稍
to
显得
remember
菩
what
萨
has
你
been
们
learned
结手意
easier.
念咒，任何情况之下，只要用心意念奉请佛菩萨，
So as long as we
菩萨
use
就
our
会
heart
到我
and
们这
mind
里
to
加持，
invite the Buddhas,
也给我们
Bodhisattvas, they
进
will
入
come to
这
give
样
us
的赞美，
blessings or
相
to
信每一位都有
help
经历过
us
非常
during
重要的、
emergencies.
最重要、最重要、最重要，
And
遇
what is
到
the
紧
most
急的
important?
事，第一时
When
间
you
要
are met
请
with an
永续尊，
emergency,
意念非常重要，
pray to
凡事
Grandmaster
向好
for
的
his
去
help.
念想，就好
And
像
my
我
intention
徒
is
徒
very
的家
important.
人
Always
被偷盗，
be
那么
positive,
正面的
just
想
like
法让我
Roosevelt's
觉得我们的
story
生活值得
about a
感
burglar
激，
in his
就好
house.
像我们皈依莲生活佛，我们敬师重法
Just
实
like
修，
when
根
we
据
took
师
refuge
尊
in
教
Grandmaster
生
is
活为有关
treasure the
联。接下来就是
respect
细习分享
the
的环
guru,
节了。如果大家有经
treasure
历
the
过
Dharma, and
邀请佛
cultivate
菩萨的
diligently.
任何感应故事，也可以在这
So
里
if you have any
短短
stories
的2-3
relating
分钟来
to
分享，跟大家
that
结
you have
缘，或者今
some
天有什么
sharing
故事
or
你
some
们有感
experience
触，
you've gone
欢
through
迎
when
选择分
invocating
享。
the Buddhas and
那有
Bodhisattvas,
意
we
分
welcome
享
you
的
to
学
share
员，
the
请
stories.
举起您的手，
So
我
please
们
raise your
会
hand
有
if you're
特殊的师
interested
来为您分
in
享。那另外呢，
in
如果
sharing
对今天的课程有任何的疑问，
or
也
even
可以
any
在留言
questions
区写下您的问
regarding
题，待会
today's
可以公开
lesson,
给
please
上师
leave
为大
your
家解答。
questions in the chat
好，现
box
在看一下有没有人举
and
手。
we can invite Master Lianyi to us.
我看到雪梅助教举手
So
了。
I've seen DA Shemei from Canada wants to share. Please turn your mic, please.
阿弥陀佛，
Amitabha.
听到我的声音吗？
听到，
先顶礼根本传承上师
Let's
的
pay
莲
first
生
pay
活
homage
佛，
to the root lineage
顶
community
礼
Peter
坛城
Legation,
三宝。
the triple gems of the
今
shrine.
天这堂课让我最触动的是如
So
何
what
招
touched me
请
most for this
佛
class
菩
is
萨。
how to
我
evoke
自
the
己的
Buddha's Bodhisattvas.
体会，我是很喜欢用唱诵的方法，
For me, I like
邀
to
请根本传承上师、师
chant.
尊还有佛菩
I
萨
like to sing when
就
I evoke
是
the Buddhas and
用咒
Bodhisattvas,
音来触动
using the sound of the
世尊
mantra
莲
to
生活佛
touch
的心。如果
to
碰到
touch
什么
Grandmaster's
难
heart.
题或者
And
有
if I
些东
am
西
in a
没有
difficult
明白，
situation,
那我是会
I will
用
write to Grandmaster,
唱诵的方法
and
来
then I
替
use
换根本传
singing
承上师特
method,
跟莲生活佛，
singing the
所
mantra,
以呢就会
mantra,
有很多灵感，告
and
诉我
every
怎
time
么
there will
做。
always be
今天
inspiration
我就分享到
or
这里，谢
guides
谢大
on
家。
how to
哦，妈咪贝贝。
to solve my problems.
谢谢雪梅助教。雪梅助教用
Thank
特
you,
美
DA
妙的声音
Sheme.
触动来呼唤师尊，这个
So
招式非常的特别。
DA Sheme used
好，
her
我
beautiful
们还
voice
有
to evoke the
有人
Buddhas
想
and
要分享的
Bodhisattvas.
吗？可以
Is
举
there
手
anyone
哦。
else who would like to share?
没有人分享，我就要找人。
If no one is going to share, I will have to volunteer someone.
有吗？可明师姐，刚刚看到您有很勤劳的写笔记，有没有任
Dharma
何
Sister Kamin, I saw you
心得想分享
taking
的？
notes diligently. Do you have something to share with us?
阿弥陀佛，立言之
阿弥陀佛，一
下
才讲师好，阿弥陀佛。
Amitabha,
今天用手机。
dear Ichai,
先吉祥。刚才莲益上师有讲
auspicious
了一
greetings
段
to
这
everyone.
个
Master
金
Lianyi
刚
said
法座
something
和那个
about
出家
Vajrasattva
那一段故事。这个经文让我
and
想起了
Nagarjuna.
龙树菩萨开铁塔
It reminds
那
me
个
about
经典故事。我
the
在
classic
刚
story
历
about
世尊的时候
Nagarjuna
因为我们都知道要
unlocking
做
the
这个念
pagoda.
这个
When I
自命咒。
when I
那
first
个
took
时候呢，
refuge,
我在
we have to recite the Bodhisattva mantra. I remember there was one morning at 4 a.m. in the morning when I was doing meditation, and I need to recite 108 times of the Bodhisattva mantra. And I enter into a state of meditation. This is not a fairy tale, but it's my personal experience. And I realized I entered into the crown chakra of Bodhisattva, and there was it's a place for housing all the scriptures. And Bodhisattva passed me to Buddhist scripture, and I don't know what they are because I've never seen them before. Then I wrote down the name of the Buddhist scriptures, and after I've exited from meditation, so one of them was the Sutra of the Varachana. So I have a lot of blessings from Grandmaster. So that's all I need to share today. Thank you, Dharma Instructor Yitai. Wow, you have very good experience during your meditation. That's great news.
连城助教有举手对吗？请问连城助教有在线吗？
是的，
请
有在。
开麦。
连助教您好，我有
连城 would like to do a sharing.
感应这样子，
So he has a response from his invocation. When she was 43 years old, the two front teeth was shaking.
就是吃了包子，咬下去以后2颗牙齿。
She bite a bun, and the two teeth fell out.
牙齿摇动这样子，因为我长期这个睡眠不好。
This was the first time both her front tooth is loose. So she was very worried, and so she did an emergency by lighting both sides of the incense and report to Grandmaster and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and pray that her tooth will last for another 10 years. That's all I asked for. And after I have finished my prayer, the day after, I thought about it. Something's not right. I do have to look for some right even after I've prayed. So I went to see a doctor, a Chinese physician, and asked for a prescription for teeth.
牙龈巩固都是吃这个药方好的，我就说那你给我好了，我就想说好吧，不管死马当活马医，然后呢我就回来就煮着吃。
So she got a prescription for the teeth, and it was really yucky. So after a while, she said, there should be something else I should do. I should see the doctor, just like what Grandma has advised. So today I went to see the doctor. And the doctor said, you must remove your teeth. They are useless. It's not possible to put them back. So I thought of a way to get off the clinic quickly. So I have something at home. I need to rush home. So my teeth remains. So I eat as per normal. So after a long time, there was nothing wrong with my teeth. And 10 years later, when I was moving house, I have problems with my tooth and they start to drop. And when I move, I saw the receipt from 10 years ago when I visited the dentist. So I'm very thankful to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for keeping my teeth for 10 years. So the pit for emergencies is really useful. That's an interesting story by dear Lianyi. So to keep our teeth, we can also ask Grandmaster for help.
那这里呢，我有收到建清师兄的留言给我，他说阿弥陀佛，今天莲衣上师
from Dharma
来的一句，看破不说破，
Master
弟子
Lianyi has
太好了，弟子就是
shared this
犯罪
phrase,
的毛病，嘴
see the fact,
得罪人，所以看破不
knowing the
破
truth,
就是在
but
修
not
行人
saying
路
it，out.
也是智慧的视
I've
线，
not been careful
能每天学一点，
my speech,
学
and so
满满的感恩。谢谢
I
建
make
清
a nuisance
师
of
兄留
myself.
言的分享。
So this is something I
线
learned
上还有人
today.
分享吗？刚刚我看到有人举手，但我没注意到是谁在举手。那如果您想分享，
Is there anyone
再
else who
举
want
手
to
一次
share?
吗？
Can you put up your hands again if you'd like to share?
真的没有了吗？好，没关系。那我们应该是大家都已经分享自己所有的这个故事了，非常棒。祝福大家都能够勇敢出来，
So
以
I
后
wish
出来的分
everyone
享。
to
那我们现在进入
be courageous and share.
质疑解惑的环节。那请问
So
您
now
上
it's
师
like
这里
our
有几个问
Q&A.
题我收
So
到
there are
了，
a few
那也请
questions.
莲衣上师为大家来解答。这位是来自
Mr. Lianyi,
YouTube 的
answer, please.
丽婷丽，
This is
她
from
的问题是这样：
YouTube. This is a
请
question from
问
YouTube.
如果有人对你冷暴力，或者对你语言暴力，那
So
么
if
要用什么
someone
咒来化解当下的问题呢？
if someone is hurting you
如果这样子的话呢，
through his
其实
words
你只要转化嘛，什么都
verbally,
可以的。你平时你念什么
so
咒
what
语，
mantra should I
其实转
recite
就是
to
转你的
solve
心念嘛，不要让这
this
个
verbal
这件
abuse?
事情产生这个恶果嘛。因为人你要明白一个道理，我们修行人呢千万不要结这个恶缘。
You
不
must
要
understand that for
因为别
cultivator,
人
we
对
should
我们
never
怎么样呢？其实这个
have
是有影响
unwholesome
的。
affinities.
那你怎么对别人呢？这个
How
就是
you
你的
treat
一种修养。
other
所以因
people.
果有时很难改变，但是我们修行人呢，能够控制自己，转变自己呢，我觉得这个是我们是
So in this case, it's important to
这个是
transform
我觉得这
your
样子的哈。
transform
可
your
以吗？
thinking on how you treat the situation.
好，谢谢上师解答这一个。我们还有下一题，就是来自一丹助教的问题。请问
So dear
紧急
Itan
的
asked
时
a
候，
question
是不
during
是拍
emergency.
大腿或拍小腿都可以呢？
Can we just
我觉
should
得应该是拍大腿吧。
so when you
大
have
腿应该是
emergency,
好的
you
应该是
should
应该是拍大腿。
should I tap on the lower
左
thigh,
右
upper
左右
thigh?
大腿。
Master Lin say during
好，
an
谢谢上
emergency,
师，
you should be
谢谢
tapping
上
on
师
the
解
upper
答。
thighs.
这一个问题就是请问莲衣上师，如果是
Master
当
Lin,
请
if
多尊诸佛菩萨
I'm
要怎样
invoking
观想
many
呢？
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, how should I
你是怎么招
visualize
请多
them?
尊呢？如果你
What
按
do you
照
mean by you're invocating?
按照那个仪轨那个三
What do you
尊
mean
法，
by you're
其实一
invoking
尊一
many
尊
Buddhas and
对吧？ 你一
Bodhisattvas?
尊，比如说你
So
观
when you
想
do
四尊
invocation,
观
we
想
will be
那个风
invoking
就
one
过
by
了四
one.
尊的云了。然后你比如说观想招请阿弥陀佛，你就观想阿弥陀
So
佛，
whoever you
应该
are,
是可以一尊一
whichever
尊的。
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas you're invoking, you will have to hook it individually.
谢谢上师的解答。那我应该是没看到任何什么问题了，
I don't see any more
应该没
questions.
有了。那我们应该可以结束这个课程了吧？ 好吗？
We can
那
end our class for today. Is that
可以
fine
这
with
么
you?
说，感谢今天参与积极分享的
Thank
同学们，
you
你们
all
大
who
家
have
都非
shared
常勇敢，
the
也感谢在
experiences.
留
You
言
are
区
very
提问的学员，
courageous.
你的
And
提
also to
问
those who
能
have
够让大
left,
家能
left
一起
questions
受
in
益
the。chat box,
那最后，
which
这
allows
个课
everyone
程
to
已经
benefit
到
from
尾
them.
声了，也
So
是
this
说再
is
见
we're
的
reaching
环
the end of
节。
the lesson,
有
and it's
请
time to
莲
say
英上师
goodbye.
和大家
And can we
说再
invite
见。
Master Lianyi to say goodbye to everyone?
首先也是很感
And
恩
I
各
would
位
like
传
to
承上
thank
师大力加持
Root
今
Lineage
天的
Guru
整
Living
个
With
一切
Attention
圆满
and
吉
bless
祥，
the class that he
也
has
感
been
恩
auspiciously
现场
delivered.
莲花城主上师，
Thank you, Master
感恩
Chanchu.
教育处长联合
Thank you,
上
Master
师，
Lin
感
He.
恩公
Thank you,
关处
Master
长
Lin
连
Cha.
上师感恩莲飞上师
Thank you,
感
Master
恩
Lin
各
Fei.
位上师教
Thank you,
授
all
师、法师、
masters, senior
讲师、
reverends,
助教
reverends, Dharma
及各
instructors,
位同
Dharma
门
assistants,
大
and all
家
fellow disciples.
希望大家今天能够
I hope to have
学习到自己想学的能够对大
learned
家
what
有
you have
帮助。最后
what
呢，
you've
希望大
you
家
have
都
learned
能够
something
身体
during the
健康，
class.
福
I hope
慧吉
everyone
福
have healthy
一切
bodies
光明吉
and
祥。
may you be
嗡嘛
blessed
呢
with
呗咪
good
吽，
fortune
谢谢
and
大家，
wisdom.
阿弥陀
Om
佛。
Mani Padme Hum.
好，
Amitabha.
感恩根本传承上师放光加持
Thank
今天的
you,
课
Root
程即
Lineage
将
Guru
圆
Living
满。
With Attention
感
for
谢开
blessing
导师
the
莲英
class.
上师、
Thank you,
会
Master
长莲
Lianyi,
花城主上师、教育处
Chairman Master
莲
Chanchu,
花上师、
Director
官方处
Education
长
Director
莲家
Master
上
Lin
师、
He,
莲
PR
飞上
Director
师、
Master Lin
各位
Jia,
讲
Master
师、
Lin
教
Fei,
导师、
all
法
masters,
师、
senior
讲
reverends,
师
reverends,
以
Dharma
及今天的
instructors,
翻
Dharma
译员、出
assistants,
家助教
our
和互动
translators
助
from
教。
Singapore
也
and
感谢各
Indonesia.
在场参加的各
And
位
thank
助
you to
教
everyone who
及
attended the
Facebook、
class,
Zoom、YouTube 线上
whether
的
on
莲花
Zoom,
童子们一起
Facebook,
陪同上课。
or
再见啦，
YouTube.
我们下个星期的课再见，
Goodbye.
再见。
We'll see you
感
next
谢
week.
主持人立言助教，还有翻译员所有的教育团队，阿弥陀佛。
Thank you,
谢谢
everyone.
谢谢丽妍，
The MC, translators, and
谢谢所有工作人员，
education team.
谢谢上
大
师，
家的参加，
谢谢
谢谢，
上师，
拜拜拜拜。
下周
加
见，
油，继续打卡哦。
加油。
Don't forget to do your advancement homework.
大家再见，加油，继续打卡，我们还会把名单交给师尊。拜拜，再见。大家再见，拜拜。拜，大家再见。